Well, good Monday morning to you, and welcome back. Hope you had a fantastic weekend. I had a hectically busy, but sort of kind of relaxing weekend, and it's good to be back with you. My name is Don K. Preston. I am the president of Preterist Research Institute of Ardmore, Oklahoma, and this is what I call my morning musings. Sharing a good cup of coffee with you this morning, and also sharing some thoughts on the question of life after death. Several viewers have contacted me and asked, Don, what happens to the believer when we die? Do we go to Hades and wait? Do we go to heaven and wait for a yet future judgment? As I've shared with you, this seems rather illogical to be able to say that the believer, when they die, goes to heaven, they're into the presence, pardon me, they're, they're in the presence of God, and then at some point, they come back to earth to get a body that they had not needed to be in heaven in the presence of God. They're rejoined with the body, and they go back to heaven where they were, where they had not needed that body. I'm sorry, there's really not much logic in that. But be that as it may, I love when it comes to the question of what happens after death. And by the way, there are those who say at AD 70, there's no salvation for anyone, all right? That God took away all of the redeemed, all of the righteous in AD 70, and from that point forward, you and I have no hope whatsoever. There's no one on earth to receive any blessings from God when we die. Well, of course, that's patently false. But the passage I want to share with you now is just one of the multitudinous passages that definitively refutes that idea. Revelation 14, which is a discussion of the harvest. After the preaching of the gospel into all of the world with the message, Babylon is fallen, the hour of her judgment has come. Well, that judgment comes, and notice, I heard a voice from heaven saying to me, write, blessed are the dead who die in the Lord from now on. Yes, says the Spirit, that they may rest from their labors, and their works follow them. Okay, now wait a minute. Not supposed to be anyone on earth after AD 70 that God cares anything about. And yet this passage that says that after the judgment, there are those who die, they're Christians because they die in the Lord, and they are blessed. So we have continual dying after the day of the Lord, which, by the way, rather dispels the idea that the coming of the Lord and the time of the harvest is the end of time, doesn't it? Because if we have people continuing to live and continuing to die, that doesn't fit the traditional view of the coming of the Lord at the end of human history. The point of fact is, Revelation 14:13 very clearly posits the time of the harvest, which is the day of the Lord, which is the end of the age, which is the time of the tabernacle of God being with man. And after that harvest, after that particular harvest, if you will, after the judgment of the old covenant world, people continue to die. Christians continue to die. They're in the Lord. And those who are in the Lord and who die are blessed, and they rest from their labors. Folks, the idea that since AD 70 all men die and are dead like Rover with no blessings whatsoever is false. And this tells us that since AD 70 there has been a blessedness attached to those Christians who die a blessedness that had never been attached to their death before. Well, what could that possibly be? Well, Paul said, being with the Lord, as he anticipated the coming of the Lord, was far better. There's so much more to this topic. We'll have more to say on the flip side. We'll see you then. You have a great Monday.